Hello, everyone. My name is Elaine Enríquez. Thank you for tuning in to share the vision. We have a very special program prepared for you all. Today, we have a very special guest. Cathleen Dean is with us, and she is an Emmy Award winner, born in Westchester County, New York, and she's a film director, producer, and photographer. Kathleen, thank you for being here with us. It's such a joy to have you here on the program.
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to be here.
And I want to thank everyone that's tuning in. We have Facebook, we have YouTube, and Instagram. So I like to say hello to everyone connected today and those that will connect as the program remains online. I've had such a joy talking with you. We've had an opportunity to get to know each other. And what a wonderful thing is, Kathleen, to be able to share story, to help lives, to transform lives, and to do something important in the world that can just be overwhelmingly a blessing to many people.
It is. And somehow I managed to figure that out through my film work and my current film that's making its rounds at the film festivals is Wade in the Water, Drowning in Racism. And it's definitely a film where I think people leave after watching it wanting to learn more about water safety and drowning prevention. So if in that little way I can alert people to the importance of learning how to swim through viewing my film and reconnecting with the water, then I feel like I've done what you just said, help to make the world in my little small way a little better place.
Most definitely. I'm sure that there has been an inspiration in our journey. We talked a lot about that before going on air, because everything that we get the opportunity to do for others, we're thinking of other people. But there's a process. It's not that easy, but it's not something that is impossible when you have that dream and when you have that aspiration to be able to tell the story.
So the inspiration for my film came from a combination of places. A few years back, I was working out and I was in really good shape, wanting to live my best life and be healthy. And I thought it would be great to add a triathlon to my fitness challenge. So I had to work on my swimming. Everything else was good. I was like, okay, I need to be a better swimmer. So I found this organization called Diversity in Aquatics. And their mission is to get more people of color into the water and, learning how to swim and enjoying the water for health and wellness. So I started working out with them. And they knew that I was a filmmaker. So they invited me to accompany them to the International Swimming Hall of Fame in Fort Lauderdale for a ceremony. A little boy had jumped in the water and saved a little girl from drowning. So they were awarding him with the medal. And I went along to document the ceremony. And it was at the International Swimming Hall of Fame, who I went with a gentleman named Thaddeus Gamery. He runs the swim club that I swim with in Fort Lauderdale, that I met Bruce Wygo, who was then the director of the International Swimming Hall of Fame. And Bruce took me on a tour of his art gallery. And I'm also a huge lover of art. So I was thrilled to go see the gallery with him. And there in the gallery was the most amazing collection of art that chronicled the history of people of African descent and swimming. And I learned through Bruce that, prior to the slave trade and colonialism, that Africans were very adept swimmers. They were pearl divers and fishermen, and they lived on water or near water. So swimming was a huge part of the African culture. And many of these Africans who were brought over here during the Middle Passage were working in those, on ships, diving for pearls, and they also taught the Europeans how to swim. So I sort of was blown away with this information because if you know the statistics now, African children are drowning at 6 times the rate of Caucasian children. That's a pretty big disparity. And, one life lost is too many, but when it's 6 times the amount, it's an eye opener. So having, learned about the history of swimming and then learned about the disparity in the drowning rates, I wanted to know, well, what happened? What disrupted this relationship that people of African descent had with the water? And it was Jim Crow segregation. It was laws that were put into place that prevented people from accessing swimming pools and beaches. So if you're not given access to the beaches, you lose that connection with water, and your children then don't learn how to swim. So in the African American community, because of that disruption, the safety call that most parents would give their children would be to stay away from the water, right? If I can't save my child, if my child falls into a deep water, then I would just kind of caution my kid to stay away from the water. Where, through my film, you'll learn that there was a huge marketing campaign in the United States in the early part of the century to encourage Caucasian people to swim and to access the water. So in that community, you had swimming lessons and more people learning how to swim. So in my work, I just want to educate people about this, why there was a separation and how important it is to reconnect with the water, for adults to learn how to swim if they don't know how to, and also to teach the children how to swim. And through the journey that this film has taken me on, I've met so many wonderful people from different cultures and communities all over the country who also resonate with that message and want to support it. And it's been an amazing journey.
Now, has a lot of people been surprised about the history? Because this is
Yes.
the first time I actually hear about it. I'm sure a lot of our viewers probably it is their first time as well.
It's not shocking how many people don't know the history, because for whatever reason, a lot of the history that we need to learn in school is left out of the books. So I've had people move to tears when they learn. They watch the film and they learn that there were laws that's on the books that Black people could not be anywhere near the water in Broward County unless they had an ID that said that they were working for someone. So yeah, it's very shocking. And then it's also inspiring to learn about the activists who came from the historically Black community of Sistrunk and Fort Lauderdale, who were determined to make a change. They were like, we pay taxes, we work, we should be able to access the beaches and the waterways too. So they got together and they formed protests, and they put pressure on the government to make the change, and were able to get access to the waterways for people of color.
When did that take place?
It all took place during the civil rights struggle in the 1960s. In 1964, in Fort Lauderdale, is when the Fort Lauderdale beach protests took place. And it was around the same time that a movie came out called Where the Boys Are, which is a very famous movie.
Yes.
And it started to create that whole sensation of spring break, where people would flock to Florida from all over the country to enjoy our warm, beautiful weather and our beautiful beaches. So the government, knowing that we wanted these dollars coming in from tourism, were quick to figure out a remedy. Okay, we don't want these Black people protesting on the beach here in Fort Lauderdale because we're trying to get this tourism money. So what they did was they designated a Black beach. And it was originally named the John U. Lloyd State Park. And that's another story. It was named after the lawyer who signed the paperwork, not after the activists who were Dr. Von D. Mizell and Eula Johnson Clark, who organized the protests and really fought for access to that beach.
Mm.
Years later, a few years back, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, the beach was named in honor of these civil rights activists, as it should have been from day one.
Wow, amazing. What exciting projects do you have on the horizon at this time?
So I've sort of fallen into a space of telling stories around water because it's been such an eye opener and a learning experience, and because it's a huge part of my life, not only for health and fitness, but also for relaxation and healing. That I'm working on a film now called Water is Our Medicine, and it's about a community of practice which grew out of the pandemic. Some people that I know started meeting over Zoom when our beaches were closed, and there was a lot of stress and anxiety and depression. And eventually, when the beaches opened back up, we brought our meeting to the beach, and it became a place for meditation, mindfulness, and healing. And I think that the water has such terrific benefits for everyone, that water is our medicine is why I'm embarking on this next film, to let people know that, you know, anxiety, stress,
Mhm.
depression, high blood pressure, there are all sorts of ailments that we deal with that
Yes.
can be alleviated through enjoying the water.
I commend you for the project that you have brought here to us
Thank you.
today, and it's such an honor. How was it for you when you received the news that you were going to receive an Emmy because of this wonderful work? It's an eye opener, and it brings so much with it.
I was so thrilled and overwhelmed and overjoyed, and you know, that I got to share it with my community, with my swim buddies from the swim club, and, you know, other artists that I work with. It was really um, humbling. I was on a journey to make another film when the pandemic hit. I
Mm.
was preparing to film a rom-com, and because production
Oh.
shut down, I pivoted to Wade in the Water. I had shot, you know, an interview or two, but I thought I could complete this film with a small crew. So that's why I pivoted, and I think it was just, you know, sort of being obedient and, you know, going where you're called, and the film came together beautifully during that 2020, that crazy year where we were all social distancing.
Yes.
I was able to complete it and enter it into a couple of film festivals. And it premiered at the Roxbury International Film Festival, where it won first place for Best Short Documentary. And then it went on to win an Emmy. So it's been a great journey, and it continues to be a great journey as I travel with this film, and I show it to different community groups and at festivals across the country. Um, it brings people together. It has a great, you know, underlying message that
Mhm.
we should all, no matter where we come from, have a connection with the water because of the healing benefits, but also learning why there's a difference in certain communities, the Black community, that
Yes.
why, you know, it's important to reconnect with the water.
Most definitely. And we were talking about you being a teacher, and it's so interesting how life plays out when you're called to do something like what you're doing, so special, touching so many lives, bringing awareness, making this world a better place for everyone. Because everyone has a story, and it's important to be able to share it and also have that heart for other people and love. We were talking about that, how important it is if we just have love for people, and how important it is for others what they do, and that we should give them as well time to listen and care.
Absolutely. I think that's all people want in life, is sort of to be heard and to share their stories. And sharing stories helps us connect. It makes us
Yes.
aware of how similar we are rather than how different. And,
Yes.
my experience as a teacher, I spent 7 years in the classroom teaching video production and documentary film. And I also spent over a decade producing a film festival for local filmmakers. So I was able to provide a platform for my students and for local filmmakers to create work, share it. It was very important for me to go out and find the publicity so that not only did we know about what they were doing, but the greater community knew too. And I saw lives change, and it was very, very rewarding. And I shared a little funny story. I had some students would take my class thinking it would be a fun, easy elective, and then they would fall in love with that form of storytelling and end up changing their career track from pre-med to film. And I'm sure it made some parents unhappy, but I think that you should have joy in your work. Every day should feel like Friday. You should roll out of bed excited to go to work and do something that you love to do.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah,
When you do something that you love to do, it's really not work,
it's
it's
not.
enjoyment.
Yeah.
And it's so enriching for ourselves and for others to join in if they do enjoy what we do or
Hmm.
whatever it is that they love to develop and grow into and become better as you evolve within it.
It is. And it's like that with anything that you do. If you love to cook, your food tastes better.
Yes.
I used to tease my son, my secret ingredient is love.
I love that. We discussed the importance of faith, and I'd love for you to share with everyone how that impacted this film and your future projects.
Sure, I would love to. So I think faith has played such an important part in the struggle for civil rights in this country, in the African American community. Martin Luther King was a reverend. It was at the church that he was able to mobilize the community, and they came together. And their faith was sort of that underlining foundation that helped to organize, to go out there every day and face the challenges of racism and violence that was there facing this community as we fought for our civil rights.
Mhm.
And I don't think that it could have been done any other way. It was the faith was the backbone of the civil rights movement.
And that's very important because we need to have that. It gives us strength, it gives us endurance, it gives us the vision that others that surround us may not see.
Yeah, that's so
Isn't that
true.
awesome?
It is awesome.
And it's very powerful.
It's so powerful, and it's so important to have faith in your life.
I want to ask you if you can give a message to our viewers. There's a lot of young people that love filmmaking. They may be in the process or they may have not started yet. What can you say to them today and everyone else watching about the importance of a message within a film?
I would say to young people watching that it is important to tell your story and to master your craft. Um, you know, learn the rules of storytelling cinematically, and then you can break them. And to be comfortable not looking at the media and saying, okay, what's popular? I'm going to sort of mimic what someone else is doing. But the true artistry comes from digging deep within yourself and finding out the message that lies within you and sharing that with the world. And that's when you really find success, when you're true to your story. And everyone has a story to tell.
And it's important, Kathleen, to educate yourself. That also gives you a fair ground to be able to bring forth that story that is so in depth within you. because everything starts within us.
Yeah.
And then we start to get in touch with people, start to, in some way, shape, or form, through education, gives you more tools and resources for you to move
Absolutely.
forward.
Yeah, just like with my film Wade in the Water. So I was exposed to the story through my visit to the International Swimming Hall of Fame and my tour of the art gallery there with Bruce Wygo. But then I was given some books to read, Undercurrents of Power, and I had to delve in and do more research to understand, what was happening, what caused the disruption, of the community and their connection with the water. So doing your research is very important. You want to have some accuracy in the story that you're telling. And then, studying your craft. You want to know how to shoot your interviews, and which lenses to use and how to light your subject properly. All of that is very important.
That's very important in film because you got lighting, you got projection, you got the scenes, how you're going to explain the story, the characters.
Mm-hmm.
It must have taken you a long time to put all that together.
Filmmaking is definitely a long process from conception to end. But, most of the work goes into the pre-production phase of filmmaking. That's when you're doing your pre-interviews and you're planning. And if it's a narrative, you're writing your script and doing your storyboards. So the more prepared you are in that first phase, the easier the second two phases of filmmaking go. The production will go smoothly if you've planned and organized, and so will the post-production.
Wow, amazing. Kathleen, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thank
And I'd
you.
like for you to share with everyone if there is a way that they can get in touch with you through social media, obviously through the film. It's amazing. And any other information you want to share.
Sure. So I am on Instagram. My Instagram is Cathleen Dean. It's Kathleen with a C. And I'm also on Facebook under the same name. And my email is catdean10@gmail.com, CATDEAN10@gmail.com. And anyone who'd like an opportunity to view the film and hear more from me, and I'm happy to share it.
Thank you to everyone. It's so exciting, so amazing to be inspired by you, Kathleen.
Thank you. It's wonderful to
Wow.
be here. And thank you for providing this platform for people like me to share and amplify the work that we do.
Well, you're part of the family now, so
Thank
we
you.
expect you to come back
I would love to.
and keep telling us stories and keep inspiring us and making this wonderful, wonderful place in the world that we can share a story and then lives are transformed.
Thank you.
And to inspire others to continue and to
Exactly.
pursue. Thank you so much. God bless everyone. It's been a joy spending this time with all of you. Please visit our Facebook, YouTube, and our website, which is ovmradio.com, for more of Kathleen Dean. See you soon on the next Share the Vision. Bye-bye.